Hello, peoples. This is Tracey here at Talking with Tracey, the Ride to Self-Love. And today I'm coming on and I'm talking about a tool that is life-changing if we can learn how to employ this. The tool is about learning how to not take other people's behavior personally. It's one of the 4 agreements in Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements. He talks about not taking it personally. And I preached this and I taught this to people for years through my business with clients and at workshops and talking to people in the store and whatever. I would always preach and teach this. Don't take it personally. And I really thought I had it down. And it came to my awareness, it was in 2017 that it came to my awareness that I did not have this tool down. I'll tell you about the circumstances that happened for me. So I'm going to give an example from my own life of how this actually came to my awareness that I was still taking other people's behavior personally. So at the time, I was nearing the end of a court case against a teacher who had had an inappropriate relationship with me when I was a youth. It was a very, very damaging relationship. And in this situation, I was in a court case against the school board and against the teacher. And the school board had brought a counselor of mine in on it. I hadn't brought the counselor. My head lawyer had advised me, bring the counselor in. You need to hold her accountable. And I said, you know what? Even if she made a mistake, I feel that her intentions were good, and so it was an honest mistake. And so I refused to do what my lawyer advised me to do. Well, what happened was, the school board brought her in on the case. The school board was upset that she hadn't reported the relationship. She knew about the relationship with the teacher and hadn't reported it. So we fast forward to 2017. We're nearing the end of the court case. We know that we've got a court date coming up that year. And my mom was close to on her deathbed, to be honest. We knew that she was terminal. We knew that she had a limited amount of time. She was just in the process of transitioning from the hospital to hospice. We had advised all the parties in the court case that this was the situation with my mother, because my mother was supposed to be one of the witnesses in the case, and we knew that wasn't going to happen. And what happened at this time was the counselor, who was a friend of mine and was a friend of my mother's, she's the person who had advised my mom not to report the abuse, not to report that she knew about this relationship with the teacher. So my mom found out about the relationship with the teacher. She went to my counselor for help because my counselor knew me and saw me on a weekly basis. And the counselor advised my mom not to report it. My counselor's legal team then sued my mom as a fourth-party lawsuit for not reporting the abuse. So the person who advised my mom not to report it 27 years previously then sued my mom for not reporting it. And I was hurt. I was livid. I was angry. The conversation going on in my head was, I can't believe they do this. How could they betray me like this? How could she backstab me like this? And this went on. I was feeling like this for a couple of months, and I wasn't sleeping properly. It was really consuming a lot of my thoughts. I was so hurt by what this person had done. And so I finally sat down and I'm like, okay, I need to get this under control, because why am I so angry about this still? And I listened to the story I was telling myself. She backstabbed me. She betrayed me. And I was like, oh, Tracey, you're taking her behavior really personally. Like what she set out to do was to backstab and betray me. That's not what happened. What happened was she set out to defend herself. She set out, she was afraid of what was going to happen to her. And so she made a self-defense move. And her self-defense move was to lash out at my mom. It had nothing to do with me and my mom. The reality is that counselor would have done exactly the same thing in the same situation with any other person. Were she put in that same legal situation with anybody else in the universe, that's how she would have behaved, because that was her self-defense mechanism, was to do that. And I got it. Like, I finally got it at that point. It was like, oh, it wasn't about me. It's not that she backstabbed me. It's not that she betrayed me. It's that she just showed me who she is. In this moment, she showed me who is. It's not about me. And at that moment, when I got it, like this aha moment, like a light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, oh, now I really understand about not taking it personally. And I applied it backwards to the things in my life that had been most hurtful by people that were very close to me. I will talk about a story that I had told for years, which was that my dad abandoned me when I was 12 years old, because that's how it felt. Our relationship changed 100% when my parents divorced. And I had told this story to myself about how I had been abandoned at age 12. That's not really what happened. It wasn't that my dad sat down one day and said, how can I abandon my daughter? I want to abandon my kids. That's not what happened. The story is that my dad divorced my mom, and he didn't know how to navigate a relationship with me after he divorced my mom. He had no idea how to navigate the relationship with the family all together as a unit. At no point did he say, I'm going to abandon my daughter. At no point was that his intention. Even if that's how I felt, that's not what happened. The question, the little 12-year-old girl is like, what's wrong with me that my daddy doesn't love me? And that never should have been the question. The question may have been better placed as, what's wrong with my father's parenting skills that he doesn't know how to handle this situation? What is deficient in his parenting skills? It had nothing to do with me. Whether I had been incarnated as his child or whether any other person in the whole universe had incarnated as my father's child, his parenting skills would have been exactly the same. They wouldn't have been different. I can look at my dad and know exactly where his parenting skills came from. They came from his parents. He did the best he could with the tools he had at the time. His behavior wasn't about me. Other people's behavior is never about me. It's about them. His behavior wasn't about his daughter. His behavior was about him. And other people, when they do things that affect you, their choices don't really have it's not about you. It's about them. It's a reflection of who they are. Everything I say and do is a reflection of who I am as a person. Everything you say and do is a reflection of who you are as a person. Our behavior isn't about other people. I can't blame my behavior on other people. It has nothing to do with them. My behavior is solely, I have to own all of that. I have to own all of my behavior, just like other people have to own all of their behavior. We don't hold other people accountable for their behavior all the time, because the question goes through our head of, why would they betray me? Or why would they backstab me? Or why would they abandon me? Or why would they do this to me? They aren't doing this to you. They're doing this. You happen to be the person in their way right now. That's all. They're just showing the exact same behavior they would show in the same situation were it another person in the exact same spot. When I got molested as a kid, when I was 12 years old, it wasn't about like, what's wrong with me that this would happen to me? Why is this happening to me? What's wrong with me that caused this? Nothing, absolutely nothing. I happened to be a vulnerable child in the wrong place at the wrong time. Had any other vulnerable child been in the exact same spot, same thing would have happened. Their behavior wasn't about me. But we interpret things, and it's amazing how this story can last in our heads. This story can last a lifetime about our abandonment, about how someone backstabbed us or how someone hurt us or how someone, whatever, their behavior. So no matter what abusive things that your parents did or siblings did or other people in your life that were close to you, their behavior wasn't about you. Their behavior would have been exactly the same had it been any other person. And I will tell you, it takes the hurt out of the statement when we change it from my dad abandoned me when I was 12 years old to my dad divorced my mom when I was 12 years old and didn't know how to navigate a relationship with me. It's a completely different statement. All of the hurt has been taken out of that. I'm no longer hurt by that. I'm not hurt by my dad's choices and my dad's behavior. My dad and I actually have a good relationship now. And part of that good relationship is me understanding that his behavior has nothing to do with me. I don't have to take it personally anymore. Not that things have changed over the years as well, but I don't have to, his behavior or anyone else's behavior, I don't have to take their behavior personally. Family, like this is a big one when dealing with family. People think that that's easy to do with people that are far away, but actually if you apply this properly with people that are close to you, the people that are closest, parents, siblings, spouses, everything, your best friend, why did my best friend do this to me? It's not that your best friend did this to you. It's that your best friend did this. They showed you who they are. You happen to be the person standing there right now. When a person would treat their best friend in a certain way, it really has nothing to do with the best friend who gets hurt. It's about the person who would treat someone that way. They've got defensive behavior, they've got fear, they've whatever. There is something that is driving them to do that, and it's not you. Their fear is driving them to do that, not you. And I will tell you, when I got this in 2017, it was literally a game changer for me in my life when I really got that other people's behavior didn't have anything to do with me. It took the hurt out of other people's actions, other people's choices. It doesn't mean that there aren't times where I still get angry at someone but it doesn't stay there for months and months and months, and it doesn't eat at me, and I don't stay hurt by it. And that's good. So I'm being good to me. This is a self-love choice to learn how to not take other people's behavior personally. It's like the ego jumping in there and saying, I'm going to take responsibility for what other people are doing. No, that is incorrect thinking. It's not about me. But the ego likes to think that everything is about me. If someone's treating me this way, it must be about me somehow. Why would they do this to me? Why would they backstab me? No. Why would they backstab a friend? And that's the question that we want to answer, because it's not about you. Take the word me out and insert another person. Just why would they do this to a person? Because the reality is they would do it to anyone if they would do it to you. That's the truth of the situation. So another person incarnated in the exact same spot, their behavior would be the same. Their parenting skills would be the same. Their lack of parenting skills would be the same. Their sibling skills would be the same or lack thereof. People's behavior and skills and ability to be in good and healthy relationships or not would be identical whether you were the person inserted in their life there or not. That's the truth of it. And so I wanted to share this with you today. It was a game changer. Sit down with a pen and paper, sit down with a journal, or just sit down ready to talk to yourself about it or talk to God or whatever works for you. But take a look at those situations in your life that were most hurtful and change the way that you tell it. So, let's say someone cheated on you. Why would they do this to me? No. Why would they do this to a partner? Because the reality is their behavior would be the same regardless of whether it was you or somebody else. It's not about what they did to you. It's about what they did. And start retelling that story and start reshaping that story. Because I tell you, when you reshape and retell that story and it becomes about them and their behavior and their deficiencies in healthy relationships and whatever, it really makes a lot of room for us to be a lot happier and to have a lot more peace in our lives if we're not thinking that somehow we've caused other people to behave the way that they behave. This is a self-love choice to come to this realization and get it. So if you didn't fully get this message, listen to this one again. Listen to this one as many times as you need to get this message, because I will tell you, this is a life-changing skill. Not taking other people's behavior personally. And if you want to do some reading on it, Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, is an excellent book. It was written years ago and it is still relevant today. An excellent book. And one of the four principles is about not taking other people's behavior personally. I talk about it in my book too, in Motorcycles, Moose, and Magic, The Ride to Self-Love. When I get to the section where I talk about the court and I talk about the things that came out of it, that was one of the blessings, one of many blessings that came out of that court case against the teacher, was I really began to recognize and get what belonged to me and what belonged to other people. I had taken on the responsibility of the teacher not losing her job, the counselor not losing her job, other teachers who knew about it that hadn't reported it not losing their jobs. I took all that responsibility on. And on top of that, I was taking on the behavior of others. Like, why would the counselor do this to me? What's wrong with me that the counselor would do this? No. What's wrong with her that she would do this to someone? Sue the person who she advised not to report it and then sue her for not reporting it. It was terrible. That was the last thing. That was not something I wanted my mom to deal with in her last few weeks on earth. And fortunately, I will tell you the end of that story. My mom barely got to hear about it. We did not allow that to really get into her realm of what was going on in the world. We kept it away from her, and so that wouldn't be something that she left this earth with. Anyways, so that's my talk for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't take other people's behavior personal. Be responsible for your own behavior. Ask yourself what you're doing, what your choices are. Do you feel you're coming from a place of integrity? Don't worry about whether other people are coming from a place of integrity. Their lack of integrity is not about you. It's about them. All right. So I'm going to give you a great big hug. I'm wrapping my arms around you right now. This is me giving you a hug. I want you to feel it. Put your phone down. Feel the hug. And I want you to send yourself some love right now. I want you to tell yourself, I love me. Thanks for continuing to show up for yourself. You're awesome. You have a fantastic day.